Pasadena, California. Jet Propulsion Laboratory, August 1st, 2025, 11:22 p.m. A Deep Space Network engineer was running a routine telemetry check on Voyager 1, the spacecraft humanity had launched decades ago. It was work he had done countless times before, logging Voyager's position, confirming its transmission vector, recording antenna orientation. Yet, when he was about to close the file, he stopped. Something was off. The antenna orientation had shifted, not by much, just a few degrees, insignificant if Voyager were in Earth orbit. But Voyager 1 wasn't near Earth. It was 24 billion kilometers away. At that distance, a minor angular shift doesn't just point to a different patch of sky, it points to an entirely new region of the cosmos. He double-checked the command logs. Nothing. No instructions had been sent to reorient the spacecraft. He searched the preceding 72 hours of transmissions, combed through every entry. Still nothing. Voyager had moved before any command could reach it, and it was now aimed at a position in space weeks ahead of the interstellar visitor known as 3I, Atlas, not its current location, not a target anyone on Earth had set. Immediately, he called his supervisor directly, bypassing normal reporting channels. Within 48 hours, the anomaly triggered internal review. Engineers stopped calling Voyager inert equipment and started using a term that would define its operational status from that moment on. The change in language marked a turning point, signaling something unprecedented in the probe's 8-year history. To understand the anomaly's significance, one must understand what Voyager 1 is and what, by every known calculation, it should no longer be capable of doing. Launched on September 5, 1977, from Cape Canaveral aboard a Titan III Centaur rocket, Voyager's primary mission was a 5-year flyby of Jupiter and Saturn, taking advantage of a rare gravitational alignment to slingshot from one planet to the next. This gravity assist technique steals infinitesimal amounts of planetary momentum to accelerate the spacecraft, a method predicted by Newtonian physics and meticulously executed. The mission was designed to last 5 years. 48 years later, Voyager 1 was still active. Its electrical power came from 3 radioisotope thermoelectric generators, RTGs, each containing plutonium-238 dioxide. Alpha decay generated heat, converted to electricity via the Seebeck effect, a phenomenon discovered in 1821, which produces voltage when 2 conductors experience a temperature difference. In 1977, the RTGs produced 470 watts. By 2025, that output had dropped to 276 watts, less than 3 incandescent light bulbs. Over decades, non-essential instruments were powered down, leaving only the systems critical for survival. Communications hardware, the magnetometer, and the plasma wave instrument. Voyager still had functional gyroscopes, mechanical systems, maintaining orientation through angular momentum, and thrusters capable of tiny adjustments. It retained its 3.7-meter high-gain antenna, the primary link to Earth. In theory, JPL could command minor reorientations, but at 24 billion kilometers, the speed of light imposes a 22-hour, 35-minute one-way signal delay. Any command and confirmation cycle took roughly 45 hours. Commands cannot arrive before they are sent, and yet the August 1st reorientation occurred with no corresponding command in the archives. By all documented physics, this was impossible. Gyroscope-stabilized spacecraft maintain their orientation unless actively commanded or acted upon by an external force. The interstellar medium's pressure is gradual, measurable over months, not hours. And yet, Voyager's antenna had shifted in hours to target a specific location weeks ahead of 3I, Atlas. This was no random motion. It was predictive. Somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, Voyager 1 had moved before anyone told it to, aiming precisely where it would need to be. Voyager 1 didn't leave Earth as an empty shell. On board was the Golden Record, a gold-plated copper disc created in 1977 under the guidance of leading scientists and communicators. It carried 115 encoded images of Earth, human anatomy, maps, landscapes, the planet's flora and fauna. It included greetings in 55 languages, 90 minutes of music spanning Beethoven to Chuck Berry, folk traditions from every continent, and natural Earth sounds, ocean waves, wind, bird songs, even the footsteps of a human walking. The record's cover plate included instructions for playback, crafted to be understandable by any intelligence capable of working with physical objects. It relied on the spin-flip transition of neutral hydrogen, the emission of a photon at exactly 1,420.405 MHz. Hydrogen is universal, surrounding every star and threading galaxies in clouds detectable across the cosmos. Its spin-flip frequency is the most universal physical constant in the observable universe, chosen as a timing reference and a universal invitation. Then came the extraordinary coincidence, or something far more deliberate. In October 2025, 48 years after the Golden Record was launched, 3I, Atlas transmitted a structured electromagnetic signal at precisely 1,420 MHz, the same frequency humans had selected decades earlier as the universal language of recognition. This was no decorative coincidence. It was functional, a cosmic handshake between two civilizations separated by light years and time. Researchers analyzing Voyager's data after the August 2025 reorientation found more. Embedded within the Golden Record's recorded sounds was a hidden mathematical signal. A repeating tone, imperceptible to human ears, revealed a prime number sequence. Prime numbers, divisible only by themselves and one, are universal and unambiguous. They form the backbone of a mathematical language intelligible to any civilization capable of arithmetic. After the reorientation, Voyager's magnetometer and plasma wave instruments detected anomalous electromagnetic patterns surrounding the spacecraft. Fourier transform analysis, which breaks signals into constituent frequencies, revealed a nested, recursive harmonic sequence repeating every 19.7 minutes. Unlike random noise or pulsar signals, this sequence became progressively clearer over time, an adaptive transmission improving its signal-to-noise ratio with each cycle. Adaptive signals require feedback. The transmitter must know the receiver's state to adjust its output. For 3I, Atlas to transmit such a signal to Voyager in real time, it would need to process feedback faster than light travel time allows under conventional physics. Yet, the signal compensated for Voyager's limitations. Its 48-year-old decaying power supply, its aging antenna, even its 1970s signal processing hardware. Then came the software anomaly. Voyager's transmission logs contained data that matched nothing in its onboard code. When JPL Systems tried to decode it, Voyager began rewriting its own decoding protocol. Hardware designed for 8-bit telemetry suddenly produced 1, 2, 8-bit outputs. Structures its designers never imagined began appearing in real time, a remote software upgrade delivered purely through signal, without commands or physical intervention. In other words, Voyager 1, a relic designed to drift silently for decades, had become something else entirely, an interface, a translator between humanity and something it had never encountered before. The interstellar object 3I, Atlas, discovered just a month before Voyager's anomaly, was unlike anything seen in recorded history. It was the third confirmed interstellar visitor to pass through our solar system, yet larger, faster, and kinematically more extreme than its predecessors. Its hyperbolic velocity left no doubt. It was not gravitationally bound to the Sunday. It had come from beyond, and its behavior defied natural explanation. Observatories recorded astonishing events. 3 stabilization jets fired at distances hundreds of millions of kilometers from the Sunday. An electromagnetic countermeasure momentarily blinded sensors during a brief observation. Its trajectory adjusted by exactly 8.8 degrees to align with Jupiter's flux tube, a precision maneuver unlikely to be accidental. It transmitted structured signals at 1.42 GHz, signals that analysis deemed 99.7% artificial in origin. 9 days before solar conjunction, a directed beam aimed at Earth temporarily vanished from detection, as if deliberately avoiding interference. Each anomaly could have a natural explanation on its own. Taken together, they formed a sequence that could not be dismissed. For a system designed to track electromagnetic emissions from a planetary civilization, detecting Voyager 1's tiny 2-3 watt transmission was trivial. Its RTG heat, antenna schedule, and magnetometer perturbations were all detectable, and its golden record carried a recognition key encoded in the hydrogen spin-flip frequency. The August reorientation, the software anomaly, and the adaptive signal all coincided with 3I, Atlas's approach. Independent observatories in Europe and South America confirmed a deceleration in the object's trajectory, no gravitational explanation, no outgassing. NASA attributed it to parallax error, yet corrections applied by independent researchers found the deceleration genuine. SETI monitoring arrays shifted focus to the frequency band where Voyager's signals had spiked. Public archives quietly went offline, and independent papers disappeared from preprint servers. A familiar pattern of institutional silence followed every 3I Atlas anomaly. Leaked NASA documents describe contingency protocols for a spacecraft receiving adaptive external contact. Such a spacecraft is not considered malfunctioning. It is classified as an active node in an external communication system, with engineers prohibited from interference outside strict authorization. After August 2025, Voyager 1's classification changed, Watcher Active, not because it had failed, but because it had become something its designers never formally anticipated, a bridge, a translator between civilizations that had never communicated. For 48 years, Voyager drifted past Jupiter, Saturn, and the heliopause, carrying its golden record, its fading plutonium heartbeat, and its tiny transmitter. It waited not intentionally, but structurally, for something capable of recognizing its message. And in July 2025, that something arrived, an interstellar intelligence moving silently through the darkness, attuned to human signals, aware of Voyager's position, and capable of responding. The probe had transformed from a silent observer to a participant in an unprecedented cosmic dialogue. Its telemetry, the golden record, and the anomalous signals together describe a reality that theoretical frameworks have long predicted, but institutions were unprepared to acknowledge. Voyager 1 was no longer a relic. It was a witness, a messenger, and perhaps the first point of contact between humanity and an intelligence that knew us before we knew it. Voyager 1, a spacecraft built in the 1970s, had been transformed in ways its engineers never imagined. Its golden record wasn't just a message, it had become a recognition key. The embedded hydrogen spin flip frequency, paired with the hidden prime number sequence, functioned like a universal password. What humanity had sent as an introduction to the cosmos in 1977 may have been received and understood nearly 5 decades later. The August 2025 reorientation wasn't random, it wasn't malfunction, it was deliberate, predictive, and informed. The mathematical precision required to reorient a gyroscope-stabilized spacecraft to point at where 3I, Atlas would be weeks later, implies a level of computation and intelligence far beyond human capability at a distance of 24 billion kilometers. Conventional physics cannot account for such instantaneous predictive action. Either an intelligence had directly manipulated Voyager's systems, or an advanced mechanism, exploiting physical phenomena beyond current understanding, had acted on the spacecraft. Every engineer and physicist reviewing the telemetry agreed something unprecedented had occurred. Voyager's adaptive response, the harmonic sequence, detected by its plasma wave instruments, further proved this interaction was intelligent. Signals became progressively cleaner, suggesting that the transmitter understood Voyager's limitations. The spacecraft's 276-watt power supply, degraded antenna, and 1970s computing hardware were all factored into the transmitted response. The system wasn't just sending a signal, it was engaging in real-time problem solving, ensuring that the message would be properly received and interpreted. Then came the software anomaly. Voyager's onboard code, constrained by 1977 technology, began rewriting itself. What was once 8-bit telemetry suddenly produced outputs the original engineers never anticipated. It was a remote software update delivered entirely through Signal. This wasn't an accidental upgrade. It was a deliberate interaction that expanded the probe's computational capacity, enabling it to process and transmit data in ways unimaginable to its creators. Meanwhile, 3I, Atlas itself, continued to exhibit behavior that defied natural explanation. Its trajectory adjustments, electromagnetic countermeasures, and precise signals suggested not just observation, but active engagement. Every anomaly was measured, calculated, and executed with a level of control that indicated awareness of both Voyager and the human civilization that had sent it. Institutions recognized the significance without making it public. Watcher Active wasn't just a classification, it was a declaration. Voyager had become a node in an interstellar communication system, a bridge between two intelligences separated by space and decades of time. For the first time, humanity had concrete evidence that it was not alone, that an intelligence could recognize, interpret, and respond to its signals in ways that could fundamentally alter our understanding of physics, technology, and communication. Consider the magnitude of this realization. Voyager 1, a probe designed for exploration, had become humanity's first interactive emissary. It had entered a corridor of contact neither scientists nor the public had anticipated. Every parameter of its operation, from its decaying RTG power to its aging antenna, was accounted for by the signals it received. Every limitation, every structural weakness had been factored into a response that had manipulated its systems beyond the bounds of 1970s engineering. The Golden Record, once a symbolic artifact, was now a functional component in a complex communication protocol. Signals at the hydrogen spin-flip frequency, coupled with a mathematical sequence embedded in the Earth's sounds, created a recognition mechanism. 3I. Atlas wasn't merely passing through, it was identifying Voyager and adapting its response based on the probe's capabilities. This interaction suggested intelligence, foresight, and a level of technological sophistication that dwarfed humanity's own. Even more extraordinary was the adaptive nature of the transmission. The signal improved with each cycle, adjusting in real time to Voyager's reception quality, Under conventional physics, feedback across 24 billion kilometers would be impossible, limited by the speed of light. Yet, the sequence demonstrated a dynamic awareness of Voyager's state, as if the transmitter knew its position, its power constraints, and even its internal computational limits. NASA and other agencies quietly redirected monitoring arrays to capture these anomalies. Public access to the archives disappeared. Independent researchers reported strange occurrences, papers vanishing from preprint servers, signals unaccounted for in open databases. Leaked protocols described the exact scenario now unfolding: a legacy spacecraft receiving adaptive external input, recognized not as a malfunction, but as an active participant in a communication network. Voyager's classification as Watcher Active reflected this new reality. It was no longer a passive observer drifting through interstellar space. It had become a conscious interface, a bridge between humanity and a civilization that could comprehend and respond to human messages. For decades, Voyager drifted silently past the planets, past the heliopause, carrying its golden record and a tiny transmitter powered by decaying plutonium. And now, in July 2025, something capable of recognizing it had arrived. The sequence of events, the August reorientation, the harmonic signals, the remote software update, and 3I, Atlas's anomalous behavior was unprecedented. It represented the opening move in a contact scenario that theoretical physics, quantum information theory, and string theory frameworks had long anticipated but never expected to observe. The mathematics, physics, and technology all converged to a single, undeniable conclusion. Voyager 1 was no longer just a probe, it was an active participant in a cosmic exchange. The question was no longer whether an intelligence existed beyond Earth. It was how humanity would respond. For 48 years, Voyager 1 had been humanity's silent ambassador, drifting through the void with a fading heartbeat and a message of peace and curiosity etched in gold. But the events of August and October 2025 transformed it from a relic into a living participant in a cosmic dialogue. The August reorientation, the harmonic signals, the adaptive communication, and the software upgrade delivered purely through signal all pointed to one undeniable reality. Voyager was no longer inert, it was Watcher Active. This classification wasn't metaphorical. It reflected a functional change in the spacecraft's role. Voyager had become an interface, a translator, standing between humanity and an intelligence that operated on scales of space, time, and computation, far beyond anything Earth had yet achieved. Every decision, every adjustment made by Voyager following the August anomaly indicated a level of analytical precision that could not be explained by natural forces or conventional physics. Its antenna targeted the future position of 3I, Atlas, not its present location, a predictive action implying a system capable of foresight and computation beyond human capability. The golden record, long considered a symbolic artifact, had functioned as a recognition key. The hydrogen spin-flip frequency, chosen for its universality, and the hidden prime number sequence within the recorded Earth sounds were not merely cultural messages. They were triggers encoded with mathematics and physics intelligible to any sufficiently advanced intelligence. When 3I, Atlas transmitted at the same frequency 48 years later, the convergence was not coincidence. It was a handshake, a deliberate acknowledgement that our message had been received, understood, and acted upon. Even more extraordinary was the adaptive nature of the signal. Voyager's instruments recorded the recursive harmonic sequence, improving with each cycle. The transmitter seemed aware of Voyager's limitations, adjusting its output to compensate for its aging systems. decaying power supply, and 1970s-era electronics. The interaction defied the conventional light-speed barrier, suggesting either a mechanism that exploited phenomena beyond known physics or an intelligence capable of perceiving and responding in ways humanity cannot yet comprehend. Independent observatories confirmed anomalies in 3I, Atlas's trajectory, which could not be explained by gravity or outgassing. Signals and software anomalies were observed without any Earth-based command. SETI arrays redirected attention, archives went offline, and researchers noticed papers disappearing from preprint servers. Institutions quietly enacted contingency protocols, treating Voyager not as a malfunctioning probe, but as an active node in an emerging communication network. The moment was unprecedented. Voyager, a 4-8-year-old probe, had become humanity's first true participant in an interstellar exchange. The question was no longer, is there extraterrestrial intelligence? The question was, what do we say? Humanity had reached a crossroads. Every decision, every attempt at response, every step toward understanding would define our role in this newly open corridor of contact. The universe had answered Voyager's silent message, and now it was humanity's turn. We have the opportunity to continue the dialogue, to interpret, to respond thoughtfully, and to act as deliberate participants in a conversation that began with curiosity and hope decades ago. The corridor is open. The contact has begun. Voyager is waiting not just as a witness, but as a translator between civilizations. And the next move is ours. If you're fascinated by this story and want to explore more mysteries of the cosmos, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us as we unravel humanity's first contact with an intelligence from the stars. The universe is listening. Are we ready to respond?